welcome to All Steelers Talk, your home for everything Pittsburgh Steelers, presented by allsteelers.com. Happy New Year from our friends over at Manscaped. The ball has officially dropped, but that does not mean that you have to drop the ball on your ball. It's time to bring sexy back in 2022 and step up your game with Manscaped's Performance Package 4.0. Join the 4 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped to help them ring in the new year with the right tools for the job. Just go to manscaped.com and use code ALLSTEELERS for 20% off plus free shipping. It's a new year, new you, and a new you means no pubes. Donnie, what is good? How is the ball deodorant going?
Bro, ball deodorant is phenomenal. I actually didn't think I'd use it as much just because I normally do a good job of making sure I do get everything. But like I talked about last week, like I play soccer a couple times a week, aside from going to the gym multiple days as well. So, you know, it can get not great down there. So the ball deodorant has definitely been a lifesaver thus far.
Beautiful. Love to hear it. Happy 2022. It's time to ramp up your exercise and grooming routine this year for maximum gains. A six-pack is great New Year's resolution, but how about a six-pack for your balls? The Manscaped Performance Package 4.0 contains 6 essential tools for the ultimate below-the-waist grooming routine. Inside the Performance Package 4.0, you'll find a signature Lawnmower 4.0. This electric trimmer is designed to trim hair on loose skin. The advanced skin-safe technology reduces cuts and nicks on your delicate nuts. It's also comes equipped with a 4,000K LED spotlight that will shine a light to the promised land that 2022 looks to be. It's also time to freshen up down there in the new year. The Crop Preserver is an anti-chafing ball deodorant and moisturizer. You already put deodorant on your armpits. Why are you not putting deodorant on the smelliest part of your body? And for on-the-go freshness after you leave the gym, you'll love the Crop Reviver Ball Toner Spray. Start the new year with a fresh set of testes, thanks to Manscaped. Manscaped even threw in their shed travel bag to keep all your goodies stored comfortably. And speaking of comfort, the Manscaped anti-chafing boxer briefs are also included and will bring your boys down south to the next level. Manscaped also wants you to go beyond the groin this year with their new refined cologne, which offers a light yet masculine pleasing fragrance. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code ALLSTEELERS at manscaped.com. Your balls will thank you. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code ALLSTEELERS at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com and use code ALLSTEELERS. Have no regrets this year with our friends at Manscaped. Donnie. I'm always out of breath after those things, but I freaking love them. I think they're worth it. I have to tell you that my box arrived. I was very excited about the box. I was even more excited about the newspaper. I think we pointed that out. And then I started using these things, and it's like a whole new world. So I'm very excited. And shout out to Manscaped, who does send you these things, which I am very appreciative for. I feel like a lot of people, you know, they're like, hey, read our stuff. You have no idea what it's like. You know, at least Manscaped's like, dude, try this out. It works. I appreciate that. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
The Pittsburgh Steelers. We are week 2 of the offseason. It feels long. It feels like this has been a year and a half. I feel like we talked about everything we could possibly talk about. We're like 12 days in. We're 12 days in. But don't worry, things keep coming up. We're going to start with some maybe bad news, but maybe some news that it's time to debunk a little bit. JuJu Smith-Schuster is reportedly interested in joining the Kansas City Chiefs this offseason. He expressed that desire, according to Pro Football Network's Aaron Wilson, who says that sources say that he is interested in joining the Chiefs this summer. What are your thoughts? I don't want to ask if you believe it. What are your thoughts on JuJu Smith-Schuster wanting to go to Kansas City?
My wife is interested in Ryan Reynolds. I mean, sure, there's interest for sure. But, you know, whether or not that happens is a whole other story. But I did want to point out that last year, the Chiefs did offer Juju a little bit more money than the Steelers had. That they offered him a $8 million 1-year deal with $3 million more in incentives that he could have reached. And they do have two, um, what's the word for it? Unrestricted free agents. There we go. At the receiver position, and Byron Pringle and Demarcus Robinson. Josh Gordon was on there, but he just signed to the practice squad today. So I'm not really counting that as a loss. And I have like two other like guys that don't really play. So the I don't want to say the need is there. It would make sense if he went there.
Oh yeah.
And it does make sense for a guy like Juju to go there. Given that he probably wants to not waste his years, with a unknown quarterback situation in Pittsburgh. He probably wants to go win or at least compete for a couple Super Bowls, which is something you would definitely see in Kansas City. I feel like he's a dude who likes to have fun, and in an offense that features Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, and Tyreek Hill, I feel like they have a lot of fun over there. So that definitely helps put the icing on the cake. So it makes sense, but I don't feel like that's groundbreaking reporting from anybody. I don't feel like that should be like a major story for a guy like Juju heading to the offseason.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way. It's just like any wide receiver in the NFL given the opportunity to go play with Patrick Mahomes is like, yeah, no, I'll probably go play with Patrick Mahomes, especially somebody who's about to enter an offseason where his home team, the Pittsburgh Steelers, have no idea what they're about to do at quarterback. Right now, the best option is Mason Rudolph, which is not very promising for a guy like JuJu Smith-Schuster. So yeah, if somebody asked me, yo, Juju, do you want to go play for the Chiefs next season? I'd say, yeah, probably. That would be nice. If they made me an offer, that'd be cool. But just like you said, they did make him an offer last season. He came back for Ben Roethlisberger. I think that at least shows that he does want to be in Pittsburgh. But this offseason is not about whether he wants to be in Pittsburgh or not. It's whether he's going to have an opportunity to succeed somewhere or not. And maybe Pittsburgh is not that place. I mean, if Mason or Dwayne's the quarterback and you're JuJu Smith-Schuster, I mean, would you even want to come back?
If Pittsburgh's going to offer you a pretty penny, sure, why not? I mean, this is now the time that you need to maximize your, worth and value as an NFL player, because you're not going to have many more opportunities to get a very, very big deal like Juju could potentially get. I don't think he sees like top tier receiver money, but at the same time, like maybe like 13 to 15 million, like right in that range is something Juju could potentially see. But that's all going to depend on like how he markets himself and how his agent like presents himself, because he's still a very young guy, but he's coming off an injury where the year before that he didn't necessarily produce as much as well. We all know what Juju is capable of, but the NFL is not a what have you done for me in the past? It's what can you do for me in the future kind of business. But granted, like I said a couple of seconds ago, he's still a young guy. He can still provide a lot to any team's offense pretty much, but especially the Chiefs, where I feel like adding like a big slot receiver like him with, Travis Kelce on the other side of the line of scrimmage with Tyreek Hill scorching defenses and taking the top off of the defense. What?
Are you seeing this comment right here? Is this real? Did Chuck Norris die?
Bro, I have no clue.
Did Chuck Norris, someone in the comments let us know, did Chuck Norris die like mid-episode? We just started this. Hold up. No, there's nothing. There's nothing. Whoever did this, shoot the moon. Not cool, man. Not cool. That was not fun. That was crazy. That'd be the craziest breaking news we've had on this show. Chuck, there's no way. There's nothing came up. We're good. JuJu Smith-Schuster. All right. I don't believe that it's early enough to say that he wants to go to the Kansas City Chiefs. I will say that it's early enough to say anybody would want to go to the Kansas City Chiefs because they score field goals in 13 seconds against teams where they should already lose to. First off, did you watch that game? And was it better? Was it a better game than the Steelers Super Bowl win over the Cardinals? Because I think that's an argument. People are putting like that up there in their top 5 and leaving out the Steelers Cardinals Super Bowl 53. And I don't know where I stand on it.
As a Steelers fan, though, probably not. But like
as an unbiased fan,
as like a neutral person, dude, like that last half of football, because like you have to remember, like those guys got off to like a very, very slow start to begin that game. Yep. But just like the finished product of that, that's really hard to beat. That is like top tier, you know what, that probably won't be replicated ever again, or at least anytime soon in our lifetime. I mean, I I won some money off of it, so I can't complain.
You won money off the Chiefs. You took the Chiefs? That was a good bet.
I took the overs on Mahomes and Allen's passing props because I didn't know who was going to win, so I just took the overs on them. And Mahomes threw for 177 yards after the 2-minute warning. So
nice.
Seriously.
I have not. I will be honest. I have not. I have not bet throughout the playoffs because
I don't believe you.
TJ, I promise I've not, because my account was at $0. It was at like a couple of cents heading into the playoffs. And TJ Watt winning Defensive Player of the Year will put me in the positive overall ever in my account. Like, which means that I had a phenomenal year because nobody comes into the season with an even mark. You're always down a couple $100. I will break even and be in the positive for the first time ever. And I've just taken that as a W. I'm like, I can't do this. I have to have a little bit of self-control. Let's get some Phantom TV question here. Joey B looking better than Mahomes this season. I love Joey Burrow, and I might get a lot of hate on this, but I want the Bengals to win the Super Bowl.
Like, you and everybody else, bro.
I just would love it. Like, I just think that if it's not Matthew Stafford, because Aaron Donald definitely deserves a ring, I would like them to get it so that I can stop worrying about liking them. I think that's kind of a part with me. It's just like, if they win it, I'll never have to root for the Bengals again in my life, because I'll never have the argument of like, oh, I want Joey B to get one. I want Mike Hilton to get one, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, there's plenty of time for Joey B and Mike Hilton to get one, so I'm not really worried about that. I can't. I really like Joe Burrow. I really like what they have going on in Cincinnati, but like, I cannot root for the Bengals. Like, I will absolutely not do that, bro. I just can't.
I get that. I feel like if it was the Browns,
yeah, they're fun to watch. Don't get me wrong, but I mean,
I think if it was the Browns,
if there's confetti falling on them and they're all crying after they're walking off the Super Bowl, or if Patty Mahomes just give them the business this weekend, like, I am not complaining.
I don't want Patrick Mahomes to beat them. If it is the Super Bowl and it's the Rams, I'll feel good about it. You don't want
Patrick Mahomes to beat them because you don't like the Chiefs or Patrick Mahomes, or because you don't like people,
his girlfriend and brother.
Mahomes,
yeah, so it's a little bit of both. Like, I've just already kind of gotten tired of Patrick Mahomes. Like, we've hit that point. It's just like the Tom Brady thing. Like, after a while, I was just like, okay, whatever. And then it actually, from the beginning, it was okay, whatever. And then towards the end, it was kind of like, all right, I respect who Tom Brady is. With Patrick Mahomes, I'm like, all right, I get it. He's phenomenal. Maybe going to be the greatest ever. I don't want to do this again. I just don't. There's nothing in me that's just like, yeah, this is super exciting. Can't believe that he plays for the Chiefs.
I think Brady was just like a serial winner. Don't get me wrong. Like, obviously Brady's like the GOAT, but I mean, as far as like entertainment value, like, Patrick Mahomes just like does stuff every week that like just makes your head explode. Whereas Tom Brady just like won ball games. Like Brady did it like the not the non-conventional way, but just like Mahomes is like the sexier version of like the younger Brady dominance I felt like we witnessed early in the 2000s.
We'll toss this one up here real quick, and then this is a valid argument. This is a very valid argument. I watched one Steelers game this season on TV, and Chris Collinsworth made me want to put my face through the TV because he's pretty bad. I will say, before we move on from the Chiefs, a lot of people texted me and they were like, yo, how about Tony Romo calling that Patrick Mahomes doesn't need 13 seconds to score at the end of that game? Like, all of us weren't sitting there already thinking that. Like, everybody didn't. As soon as you saw the 3 times, as soon as they were like, oh, they still have 3 timeouts, you were just like, oh, that's way too much time.
Yeah.
That is way too. You just gave Patrick Mahomes way too much time. And then boom, there it is. It's unfortunate. It was a great game. I like your answer that it wasn't better than the Steelers Super Bowl win, which I think we could agree with. All right, JuJu to the Chiefs. Check it off. Pittsburgh Steelers also brought in some defensive coordinator options, which I think is something to talk about. As much as we've already kind of just handed the job to Teryl Austin, I do like that they're doing their due diligence outside of the organization. They interviewed Patrick Graham of the New York Giants and then Chris Richard of the New Orleans Saints, who was actually the defensive backs coach during the Legion of Boom and then became the defensive coordinator I want to say until 2018. And
Yeah,
in that
2015 through 2017.
I want to say in that time period, his team was like top 5 in defense every single year.
His first year, they were like the league's #1 pass defense, but then it got like progressively like lower or like worse, I guess you could say.
The Seahawks have gotten progressively worse as the time.
That is true.
Yeah.
That is true.
It is good. Do you think there's an actual shot? I will be honest with you. Patrick Graham is underwhelming. I thought that was just a decoy.
Yeah.
He has the Bill Belichick coaching tree, but besides that, really nothing impressive. Chris Richard, I thought was a good one. Honestly, I'm just waiting for Don Martindale. If they don't interview Don Martindale, I just don't think there's any point in even trying to look for a defensive coordinator.
I don't think they interviewed Don Martindale. I really don't. I think kind of like what you already said, they already have their guy in Teryl Austin, but you can never be too sure. You always do want to do your due diligence. And so I have no problems with them bringing in guys like Richard and Graham for interviews. And then like you already highlighted, Richard's more of that extensive history with defensive backs and coaching, and obviously the experience with like Seattle and like the Legion of Boom era. That should definitely help as well. But like Graham, he's more so like a linebackers coach. He spent a lot of time there. Coached the defensive line for a little bit as well throughout his career. So he's more of like a front seven guy, which is something like the Steelers don't necessarily need to improve on a whole lot when compared to the secondary. And then, like you said, he's part of the Belichick coaching tree. Those guys just have not really panned out super phenomenally over the course of time. So I think, if anything, these are probably window dressing. I like Richard's chances of being hired more than Graham's, like you had alluded to earlier. But at the end of the day, and I still think it's Teryl Austin's job to lose. So
I think it's Teryl Austin's job to lose too, but I think that they should start really considering. I like Teryl Austin, and I think he's going to be a good defensive coordinator. I would like to see a fresh pair of eyes, like you said last week. And on top of that, I would like somebody to come in here and say, hey, Mike, I need a little bit of control of this defense, because Keith Butler jumped on the fan on Monday, basically said that he didn't call plays, that he wished he had more control to call plays. And I mean, if we're being quite honest, I think at that moment, everybody kind of just needed to be like, all right, well, we should stop hating on Keith Butler. Maybe we should hate on Mike Tomlin a little bit more. It hasn't been a secret that Mike Tomlin was the one calling plays. I just think that whoever's next needs to take a little bit of that control.
Yeah, but at the same time, if you're a defensive coordinator and you're being interviewed, Mike Tomlin is most likely going to be in those interviews. And I mean, for a good portion of his coaching career in Pittsburgh, Mike Tomlin has had yes men around him. Tomlin likes to be in full control of his football team. I think that's why Bruce Arians didn't come back, TBH. Yeah, I think that's why Tomlin didn't try to renew his contract here, because Bruce Arians is definitely not the guy to kiss ass around the organization at all. So
no.
But I mean, just look at the other guys. I mean, Todd Haley lasted a few seasons, but I mean, he clashed with almost everybody during his time in Pittsburgh, like Randy Fichtner, Matt Canada, and then like Keith Butler as well. I mean, none of those guys strike me as a like an alpha coach. Like somebody that's going to say, hey, 2-minute drill, we need to stop. We're only up by 4 points. Give me the reins. Like, let me control this defense. That's just something that Tomlin hasn't necessarily allowed out of his guys. And so I'm not sure if like Richard is going to bring anything different. I'm not sure if like Graham could bring anything different. I have a strong feeling that Teryl Austin is not going to like change any of that either, with Butler being gone too. Like, I still feel like if Austin were to be promoted, Tomlin would still have a lot of grip like around his, with his hands around that defense. Sorry.
Yeah. I think that it's week 2 of the offseason. Wait for a month from now. We won't even be making any sense. We're just going to be sitting here just babbling. Teryl Austin, I agree. I think that he steps into a role. It's more like a payday for him. He still develops the young guys, but I still think he still has a very strong grip on the secondary, which is a good thing to look at. And then it's Mike Tomlin calling the plays. I just don't like a head coach having so much control over a certain unit. I never have. And even when I knew Tomlin was the one doing it, I still didn't like that. You know what I mean? Because it keeps so many restrictions, and it keeps so many restrictions on the growth of the defense. If the Steelers were able to bring in a guy like Martindale, he'd have to control that defense, which allows a fresh pair of eyes, and you don't get that. You don't get that by Mike Tomlin still being the guy. I get it. He's the head coach. I don't know. It rubs me along the wrong way. I think it always has. If it is Austin, nothing changed. I mean, the Steelers defense should get better next season, right? Or is that just a bad assumption?
I think so, but like, I don't think it's going to be a night and day thing. Like, I really, really don't know. I mean, I do expect some improvements, especially in the secondary, hopefully, where, Austin has kind of been known for bringing up guys and kind of helping evolve them, like we talked about last week. But I mean, I don't think you're going to see like leaps and bounds made from this defense. One, because Austin's already been with the team for a couple of years now. And two, I mean, is his philosophy that much more different than Keith Butler's? And even if so, like how much of that philosophy would Mike Tomlin let shine through on the defense on the other side of the token?
I will say that something that does worry me is the fact that Keith Butler made a comment during the season and said that Tomlin is more of a pass defense type of guy, where he's more of a stop the run type of guy. The Steelers' run defense obviously struggled bad. Teryl Austin steps into place. He's obviously a pass defense kind of guy. That leaves a big gap in the production of maybe the inside linebackers, maybe whoever replaces Stephon Tuitt, who Keith Butler also said is unsure if he comes back in 2022. We don't know how good Tyson's going to be as a 35-year-old. I don't know, man. I think that leaves a lot of worry in the development of an area, literally the only area of the football team that needed to improve on the defensive side of the ball. Let's jump into some mock drafts. You like mock drafts?
Yeah, they're all right. They're can't say it on a podcast.
I don't know where.
I'll tell you when you're older.
I don't even know where you were going with that one. All right, the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Pittsburgh Steelers initially were obviously a landing spot for every and any college quarterback coming into the NFL draft. If you were a first-round pick and you were a quarterback, you were headed to Pittsburgh. That's just what was happening. In the latest NFL Draft Bible mock draft, that remains the same. The Steelers do draft Malik Willis. I like Malik Willis a lot, but I think that the issue with him is that he's not ready to start in the NFL come year one. And that doesn't make any sense to me, because next season you could just draft a guy who's ready to play in the NFL right now. And this year you could go with an offensive lineman or a cornerback. However, outside of that, it has been all offensive linemen. All offensive linemen. Daniel Jeremiah, who is probably the go-to when it comes to NFL mock drafts. Charles Cross out of Mississippi State, offensive tackle. And then Pro Football Network has Pittsburgh selecting Ikem Ekwonu, who I don't believe slides to the Pittsburgh Steelers, but maybe. Either way, at this point, has it become more realistic that the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to draft an offensive lineman over a quarterback? Have we just hit that train, or is this just going to be a back and forth?
I think it's going to be back and forth. I mean, because for years they've been picked to draft a quarterback in like every mock draft I've ever read in the first round. I mean, because people have been waiting for Big Ben to retire for 5 years now. Somewhere around there. So I feel like for the last 5 years, I've read nothing but mock drafts about the Steelers going up and like getting a guy in the first round, or just kind of like sitting there and take whoever's available. This year, obviously, is a little bit different with Big Ben presumably retiring. We're still not 100% certain on that quite yet. I was reading your article, and who said one of them, the mock drafts had Kenny Pickett not being drafted in the first round.
Yeah, that was Pro Football Network, which you can take that for.
Let's never use them again.
I was a little stunned too. Because at first I didn't see that. I didn't realize. Like I wrote it, looked through the mock drafts just to like let everybody know who the Steelers were selecting in different mock drafts. And then I looked back on that one and I was like, Kenny Pickett didn't go before the Steelers, so they passed up on him. And then I looked and I was like, Kenny Pickett didn't go in the first round at all. He's going to go number 9, if not number 8. or number 6. Like there's so many teams in the top 10 that are going to pick Kenny Pickett. I don't. Yeah, you're right. You're right. They also the guy the guy out of NC State. I'm not going to pronounce his name right. Everywhere else I've seen him go in the top 15 and like early top 15, whereas they just somehow had him slide to the Steelers at 20. I don't know. That one seemed a little
like we've yet to hit the Senior Bowl. We've yet to hit the Combine and all those other like landing spots too. So like there's still a lot of time for the kind of like consensus for where these guys are going to go to either improve or deteriorate. We also have to remember that like a lot of the times these mock drafts are nowhere near to where what these NFL teams think, where they have certain guys on a big board. I mean, like every year there's at least like 9 or 10 kind of like picks that make you sit back a little bit, just because like they evaluate things differently than the general public. And I remember talking to a scout last year, and a scout I talked to was like, look, like we laugh at mock drafts. Like as like a room full of scouts, because it's a bunch of people like me and you who don't know what we're doing, trying to assemble this like 32 team puzzle that's like clearly not going to be anything close to being accurate. Although I have been pretty accurate the last couple of years.
I was going to say, I've been spot on the last 2 years. Thank you very much. Spot on. Okay. Nobody saw Chase Claypool. I saw Chase Claypool.
I did not see Chase Claypool. But I mean, like, for example, a couple of years ago, I remember reading early mock drafts that had Devin White falling to the Steelers at 20. And obviously over the course of time and, the draft prep and stuff, Devin White solidified himself as a top 10 pick and then ultimately a top 5 pick whenever draft time, came push to shove. So I'm not really buying anything right now. It's still really early in the process. Don't get me wrong. I'd love a guy like Pickett. I think Cross would be a really good pick at 20. Basically any like top corner at 20 would also be like really phenomenal as well. But a lot of time. And I don't feel like there's a right answer to who they take. But kind of touching on the Malik Willis pick, he's not ready to start next year. And the Steelers do not have that guy. Look at what the 49ers did last year. They moved up to number 3 to go and get Trey Lance. And you could talk whatever you want about Trey Lance. They had a guy who could start in front of Trey Lance for a couple of years that will allow him the time to sit and develop, while also at the same time getting Trey Lance on the field and getting him valuable NFL snaps and games where he wasn't the sole quarterback to be relied on. Like they utilized him properly as a rookie, that they let him get that game experience. They kind of let him get the reps with the ones whenever possible. But Jimmy G is still the guy. And now look, they're 60 minutes away from playing in the NFC Championship game. But you also have to remember the 49ers as an organization and as an overall team are right here. And the Steelers are just a little below that. They Mason Rudolph is not Jimmy Garoppolo.
No, he's not even close. And I think did Jimmy Garoppolo throw himself out of Pittsburgh? Are your thoughts of him coming to Pittsburgh against the Packers?
I think Jimmy Garoppolo, while he is a better quarterback than Mason Rudolph, I think he's very much a product of Kyle Shanahan's offense. I really, really think if you threw Jimmy Garoppolo in Pittsburgh, he would not do well. Much like how Jared Goff went from Los Angeles under a brilliant play caller and a guy like Sean McVay to Detroit, which is a cluster, on both sides of the ball. And then they were like, hey, go do this. And then Jared Goff is like,
it's not going to work. I don't think Jimmy Garoppolo is the answer. I do like your theory, though. Mason Rudolph, if you're looking at Mason Rudolph to be a bridge quarterback, you cannot have any expectations for the Pittsburgh Steelers to succeed. That also being said, why would you not create your own Denver Broncos situation where every part of this team is ready to go except for your quarterback, and then go and get a quarterback? The Broncos could draft Kenny Pickett this season and be, I don't want to say they're Super Bowl contenders, but they're definitely a playoff team. Instantly, they're a playoff team. If the Steelers waited another year, souped up their offensive line, maybe got an inside linebacker, really hammered the parts of their offense and defense that they need to, improve after last season, and then waited a year, went and drafted a quarterback, I just think they're in a much better situation. Donnie, before we head out, I do have one more question.
Yes, sir.
If the draft was today, let's go today. You're the Pittsburgh Steelers at number 20. What position are you drafting? I don't need a name, just what position.
Oh man, can I take the easy way out? Say best available.
No, that's terrible.
Oh, okay. I feel like this shouldn't be a surprise if you listen to the show, but offensive line. I mean, like the Steelers' offensive line needs a whole lot of work between, keeping Najee upright and healthy and allowing him to do the things that he's capable of doing, on top of protecting whatever guy is under center in 2022 and moving forward. I just feel like the proven track record of teams with very, very great offensive lines are built through the draft and built through early picks to the draft, not drafting fourth round offensive tackles and plugging them in right away and hoping for the best. That does not work time and time again. I mean, there's an established way to go about it. The Steelers went and did it, and the Steelers had tons of offensive success in the NFL because they invested so heavily in the offensive line. The Dallas Cowboys too, in recent memory as well. So I would understand I'll put it to you like this. If they took Willis, I'm kind of whatever on it. As long as they don't throw him in the fire year one and don't put all the weight of the world on his shoulders year one, I'm okay with it. Or even too, like if Rudolph goes out and like sucks the first 10 games and they throw him in for the last like 7, I'm also kind of okay with that, just because he's playing with house money at that point. And the best way to get experience is to just get on the field at the same time. So Willis, sure, but like outside linebacker, no. Like defensive tackle, no. Receiver, hell no. Like some of the mocks I've seen are kind of not great. So in order, I'll give you offensive line. I don't care what position it is. Tackle, guard, center. Give me something.
Mm-hmm.
Give me something. Linderbaum would be phenomenal. I don't think he's going to be there at 20 though.
I was going to say that's a slide, but okay.
Yeah, that's a slide for him, and I'm not sure the Steelers would be willing to go up and trade for him. After that would be corner, because they need secondary help. Obviously, free agency can change that, but I mean, I don't think the Steelers are going to be big spenders, at least at the cornerback position, come free agency time. And then probably like a position like quarterback to round out the top 3.
All righty, I like it. You want to know who would like a good quarterback and a good offensive line?
Who?
Our boy, Deontay Johnson. That we are 4 followers away, 4 subscribers away from giving out this bad boy, this signed Deontay Johnson jersey from our friends over at Total Enterprise Sports. We need 4 more subscribers to hit 1,000. 4 more. We head to Mobile on Monday for the Senior Bowl. We better be giving this jersey away on Thursday. That's all I have to say. I feel real good about it. I'm kind of done waiting around. We all need that. Make sure we're subscribed. Tell your friends to subscribe. Pass it on. Be a friend. Tell a friend to get a jersey. And if they win it, maybe they give it to you. You switch it out on weekends. We'll see how it goes. We will be back on Thursday. Thank you, everybody, for jumping on. Make sure to subscribe at youtube.com/allsteelerstalk and use our promo code at manscaped.com. 20% off plus free shipping. Use the promo code AllSteelers. We'll see you on Thursday.